Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. There's more than enough news to go around these days, and I often wonder what quote-unquote beats people like to follow, and how they put their focus into just one thing. I have a million things I like to look at all at once, which kind of leads me to these pieces I write. Lately, I've found that I'm mad at things a lot less than I used to be. Instead, I find myself scratching my chin as to why so many among us are living in this state of permanent madness. Which leads me to this cast. Please sit back and enjoy the Giants Cast number 46, Inciting and Irritating the Internet. Politics is a dirty game. It is no surprise to anyone who's listening. It kind of comes with the territory, unfortunately. Your side is right, and everyone else's side is wrong. But don't forget to keep talking about how we need to work together and how bipartisanship is the way to go. You'd think in current year, 2019, people would have learned that actually listening to opposition and hearing fresh ideas is a good thing. But I guess we're getting one last dumbass year out before we sail into another decade in 2020. When we run out of things that we actually need to be mad at, we tend to manufacture them. And it feels like there's a lot more manufactured outrage going on in the Twitter sphere than there's been in recent years. And I should know because in my time on the Fox News side of things, I wrote down internet firestorm at least once a week. There was something pissing off somebody that week. The Mueller report turned out to be somewhat of a semi-nothing burger right now, so people kind of had to dig deep to find more shit to fling at the orange Cheeto who currently resides in the White House. He seems to be the lightning rod for people's BS, so why not? He's the perfect scapegoat for it. Right now, the conversation is largely focused on the loudest voices in politics. On the right, it's Trump. On the left, it's a lot of freshman Congress people. And I think right here, it's very important to point out that there's a total of 435 members of the House of Representatives. And our care is diluted daily to, in Speaker Nancy Pelosi's words, like 5 people.
AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people.
We've got this conversation about lawmakers in this country who have no claim to fame other than they're the, quote, first people. They're the first people to do something, like Representative Alon Omar. She's the first female Muslim elected to Congress. She's the first Somali American. Oh, she's a woman. The first blah blah who actually gives a shit. Can you get something done that you promised you'd get done during your campaign? No. It's enough that she's the first of something. But did you know that because of this, her life is being threatened? I didn't know that, but that's what everyone keeps telling me. People kind of went off on Representative Omar because, and I see why they do it, but it was because they believed that she was diminishing the 9/11 attacks by saying, quote, some people did something in reference to them.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
That's what it sounded like to me, very dismissive, but you know, at this point, as someone who has lived through the attacks, who saw the smoke plumes from her high school window from where the towers fell, and who lost a family member in the attacks, what I say to that is that what she said was really fucking stupid. But I really, at this point, where I am in my life, I can't spend my time going out to prove why she's so wrong about it and why I'm right. That's really not fun for me to do anymore. I like to just naturally think I'm right without having to tell everybody how wrong they are over and over again. I'll maybe point it out and give a wink and let everybody else decide what they want to decide. I'm not here for censorship. I really do believe that people can say whatever bullshit they want to say, but it is up to them to deal with the consequences, whatever they are. I'll react when I feel like it's appropriate. And here, I think that Alon Omar says more dumb shit than not, so I'm really not surprised. This is in the same vein of people who think literally everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth is stupid, yet they keep being shocked at each and every tweet the madman tweets. Now, the pushback against the Congresswoman was, well, what you'd expect that Republicans or conservatives would have done. Wave the flag, throw the never forget up a lot, set out to prove that their nationalism is better than anyone else's. Okay, fine. But then the liberal response was what sent my eyebrows up, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised about it. Other people in Congress are now warning that what the right is doing and what President Trump is doing against Representative Omar is, quote, inciting violence. These people who accuse literally everyone else of being fear-mongers are saying that this Congresswoman's life is in danger because of a retweet from the president. I mean, how is this not considered inflammatory language? How is this okay? How does this not seem anything but a massive shot of hyperbole right into the veins? How can you, with a straight face, tell me that a sitting congresswoman, who we've been told by the media over and over again that she's the strongest woman in the world, is now being threatened because of a tweet? Let me just point out and say that I don't trust people who say things like, I get death threats daily. I just don't. Because why would you call that much attention to it? I just don't understand the logic here. If you are being legitimately threatened, why would you tell a large group of people that, yes, you are being threatened? If your life was actually being threatened, wouldn't it be in your best interest to show that you're not threatened by the threat? Are you actually experiencing attempts on your life? Or does some low IQ troll tweet, I ought to kill you, in all caps? I'm sorry for the tangent if it doesn't really make sense here, but it really irritates me. And remember what I said about not getting mad at stupid shit? I still do it every so often, I guess. Either way, something felt very off to me with this whole inciting violence shtick that people started to adapt. And because the news cycle is just so fast, it kind of petered out a little bit. But I still have brought a lot of my attention to it because it's a tactic that I see utilized over and over and over again. It kind of feels like these folks on the left who want to tell me that Omar's life is being threatened, they seem to be less concerned with actually protecting those who've become the target of scorn. And instead, what they want to do is stifle the opposition. Like I said, conservatives hold 9/11 near and dear. It was the last time America felt most vulnerable in recent memory. Like thousands needlessly killed, far more questions than answers about it. Even to this day, things that make me go, was it an inside job? I don't know. We've rebuilt, and I find Americans to be among the most resilient people. But if you press our buttons enough, we'll go berserk and we'll be loud about it because we're Americans. And it's just one of those things that I observe most on the left. There's a lot more rules for thee, not for me going on there. Certain people on the right, they're acceptable targets. But don't you even think about touching one of ours. It's not even that. It's literally how fucking dare you? How dare you even think about doing that, you soulless witch? These conversations in the media, they pop up and they call for protection of those we've deemed most vulnerable. But when someone on the other side finds themselves in a place of vulnerability, it's not the same. The response is just not the same. This kind of mindset, this rules for thee, not for me, it's so hard not to what about these people. I don't like doing that. I don't like being that what about kind of person. But I just have to ask, where the literal hell were all of these advocates of protecting people against violence when a bunch of teenagers stared at a man banging a drum on the steps in Washington? There were literally people tweeting out how they wanted their names. They wanted to dox them. We got to find them. These people out there are so punchable. Why does it feel to me? Why does it feel like these contradictions are so palpable I could literally taste them on my tongue, but when I bring them up, I'm told I'm too hysterical or I'm too emotional or I'm just talking crazy? It's frustrating, that's for sure. But you know what? Out of all of this feeling that I'm having right now and this kind of fire that's building inside me, you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to punch anybody over it. I don't really have that instinct of wanting so badly I need to punch someone. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't enjoy slapping some bitches right across the face sometimes if they've wronged me. But I don't think I could ever actually do it. If I was given the opportunity, like, please slap me, I would be like, I can't do it. The only time I could ever see myself fighting back physically is if my life is being threatened. Like, literally, my life is being threatened. Like a fight or flight response kicks in, not some bullshit doofus on the internet saying, "You're dead," in all caps, and then hides behind an anime avatar. And God forbid that someone actually does try to make a threat on my life physically, because I will come at you with everything that I am. And I know that everyone's not like me. I know that there are people whose primal instincts kick in more than not. And I don't think we should really be those people. I think we're better than that. I think we can be better than that, even though we're kind of not right now. Largely, this cast has been about critiquing the left, because right now, it feels like to me, the left keeps up these rules of we can act a certain way, but you can't. And I really do believe that people are starting to see through this facade. I've said a million times before in regards to the media that what's happening is that news is becoming people's opinion. You have commentators out there, you have pundits, and they're not really offering solutions. They're just kind of harping on things and kind of injecting their own opinion into things now. And that's becoming news. It's not. News is not opinion. It never has been and it never will be. But if you're taking what someone on a certain network says, their own personal thought, as news, then we're just going to be completely lost. It's why you hear so many conservatives call back and scream fake news ad nauseum. They do it, and it's annoying. But they're starting to see the bullshit. They're starting to break through. You can't sit there and tell me that a news anchor sitting there ripping on a politician is doing anything but offering their own opinion. They're not making news. They're not reporting the news. So why is it okay for these people to act like they're on some kind of moral high ground over us lowly, just peons? When you assign weight to someone's words, you have to give that courtesy to everyone. And you also have to give it to yourself. Because we have a literal shit poster in the White House right now. And the conversation gets a little muddled. This is what I was talking about with the news. People kind of feel justified in speaking the way they do because, well, the president speaks whatever he wants. It's like if the president says something, even though we've said a million times that he's a liar and he's stupid and we hate him, but we have to remember that his words have far-reaching consequences. Therefore, because he says whatever he wants, we should say whatever we want, simultaneously not holding ourselves to the same standards as we hold the president. Let me just give you a small sampling of inflammatory rhetoric, I think, that can be described as inciting violence in a way against the president or the administration, coming from the left side of things.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them.
I told Jeb Bush after that debate that I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
And of course, the lying president said that I had threatened all of his constituents. I did not threaten his constituents, his supporters. I do that all the time, but I didn't do it that time. I do not advocate violence. I do not believe you should hit, kick, shoot. I don't think you should do that. I don't do that.
Kristen Walker, how do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck? Why can't she just say, If a staffer said that, we're going to get to the bottom of it, and she'll be fired.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
If you stripped away who was saying it, just those words, don't they sound, I don't know, just a little violent, just like objectively violent, objectively inciting violence, maybe?
You know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
I don't really know how people can sit there and justify this kind of behavior for much longer. Like, so what if it was a joke? If we're going to hold people to a certain standard of decorum, you think that that would be far-reaching, but it doesn't seem to be that way. Certain people get away with things and other people don't. When do we figure this out? That's what's really eating at me. When do these glaring contradictions slapping me in the face all the time, when do they get pointed out? There's this weird conflicting message permeating through politics right now. It's kind of like, I'm so strong, look at me. However, I shrivel away into a wilting flower when I'm challenged. And I think what it boils down to for me is that I just don't like being told I'm supposed to like certain people. I don't like when people are propped up as some beacon of the truth when I feel like I've lived long enough for now and have the ability to judge a person's character the more they present themselves to me and the more they pitch themselves to me. Not that I'm going to judge and be, angry at them for anything, but I will, if I feel they need to say something, then I would say something about they did good or they did bad. Unfortunately, what happens is those who we're told to like and we're told that are smart and good and great and brave and wonderful, they're the loudest among us, I think, and unfortunately, they get the most airtime. I wonder when that's gonna end. I've been trying, let me tell you, because at this point, it's not gonna last forever. I really believe that there's a small silent part of the population that's paying attention to the other folks in the running for the president. Those who have voices that are kind of sparking new ideas and new, fresh ways to look at things. People who have the makings of a president that could pose a threat to the establishment and actually, take the White House. Not in 2020, though. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Grandpa Trump kind of has to get the country back on track for just a few years longer. But pay attention to those guys like Buttigieg and Yang who are kind of just saying what they think and feel and know that people will disagree with them. When's the last time you heard Buttigieg snapping back at the haters? It doesn't really matter. They're just being nice, and they're not being so quick to cast barbs at you, only to whine and cry and play victim when you retaliate. Those people, the AOCs, the Alon Omars of the world.
That's like 5 people.
They're not going to win. They can't. And I say that because the world and life would be lame if those people had any real power. And we're not lame. You know what? We're not lame. We're cool. We're cool people. We're given all the opportunities in life to go out there and live it. And we're not going to get there if we keep bringing this negative Nancy cloud over us the whole time, masquerading as if it's the strong, brave woman thing to do. I don't really think there's a big grand conspiracy at play here with all of this. I just think a lot of the time we as people are just fucking stupid. We're so dumb sometimes. We're so far up our own asses we can't see the light of day. We are way too into our own selves to see past our own bullshit sometimes. And you know what? A person like that, they're always going to exist. But it does no good for me to sit here and just wish I was slapping them, because that's boring. What are we inciting violence for? Let's incite some kindness. I think that can actually be a lot more fun. And it's kind of fun confusing the basely primal among us because they don't really know how to act when they can't just punch you in the face. It's much better to throw on a smile and an eyebrow raise than it is to flap open your mouth and point a finger in the air. things are starting to die down a little bit right now. They're starting to even out. I do feel that. I hope they are. That's been my hope for the very, very long time. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have a whole new wave of things to pay attention to. That's when 2020 begins. Keep paying attention to all those town halls and strap in, because we've only just begun. So I thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. Political theories do intrigue me, and what I'd like to do is do a bit more critique of the right side of things. I would like to know what people think of that, because I am a conservative and I do tend to have, I guess, a bit of a bias towards liberals, like very outraged liberals, I guess. So I want to hear that other side of things and why we don't like the right, but in the way that people do, with the measured tone that we have here on this channel. So thank you so much for listening. The Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and iTunes. If you like this video, please give it a like, please leave a comment below, or share it with someone you think would like it. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HelloGines, or shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina Annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.